Hi, and welcome to Family of Five Adventures. If you haven't seen our videos already, two of us fully hiked the Monadnock Sunapee Greenway last summer. So I really wanted to make this video to kind of share a little bit about why we ended up hiking it, what we did to prepare and educate ourselves, and how we got ready for it. So what is the Monadnock Sunapee Greenway? If you don't already know, it's anywhere between 48 to a 50-mile backpacking. You can section hike it. It's located in southwestern New Hampshire, and it connects Mount Monadnock to Mount Sunapee. You can either hike it north to south, go south to north. Typically, it takes anywhere from 3 to 4 days. There are several state parks that you pass through, and there are 5 shelters that you can stay at. So why did we end up hiking Monadnock Sunapee Greenway, or MSG for short? I want to say it was about a year ago, a little over a year ago. Evan, who's my middle son, came to me and said he wanted to do backpacking. We have hiked for many years. We've completed probably around 15 4,000 footers in New Hampshire, and we've hiked many other mountains, and he said he wanted to do backpacking. So I said, okay, let's do it. And about a year ago, actually a year ago this week, we went and I decided to start planning this for him in the summer. So why I chose the MSG as a beginner backpacking trip for him and our family was it was local. It's local. There's a lot of options to bail out, to get off trail with roads. The northern section is really remote, and even in the middle section there's remote spots, but there was never a time where I felt we were very remote or we couldn't bail out if there wasn't a problem. A lot of people call this the mini AT. It's nicknamed as a mini AT to get ready for an Appalachian Trail hike. This is a local backpacking trip that some people end up taking. Because we are not new to hiking, we have hiked Mount Monadnock many times before kids, and even with our older two a few times. I've known about the MSG. I just really didn't educate myself or really know about the trail. So what I did about a year ago is I went and I planned. How did I educate myself? I started watching a lot of YouTube videos. A lot of locals. Nate Hikes, I think, is one of them. The Hampshire Hiker. And there was a couple other, I can't remember the names, where I just watched and educated myself to see what we are exactly getting into. I also, on Facebook, I joined the Monadnock Sunapee Greenway Trail Club Facebook page. That kind of gave me some pictures and ideas of what the shelters looked like and kind of what to expect. Another way I educated myself was on the website, and the MSG has a website where you can purchase materials and learn more about the trail. I went to a local bookstore and I ended up purchasing 2 things which I highly recommend. Is the Monadnock Sunapee Greenway trail map. And this map was great because it gave me an idea on mileage, how far we should go. It really helped me in planning where the water source is and what to expect. It also came with, I actually bought it with a package, was a trail guide. This takes each section. They section it off in 5 sections where you can learn the history and just learn so much more about each trail, each section. So for all of our hikes, I tend to use Gaia. I really like Gaia. It's just easy for me to use, and it's just something I've really enjoyed. But one thing I did end up uploading on my phone was the Far Out app. And on the Far Out app, I had to buy the MSG map. That I definitely recommend, because there I was able to see where we are, how much closer we are to a water source, whether a water source is dry or wet. Hikers go through and they leave comments on if there isn't a reliable water source, because if there's not, then you need to figure that out, which leads me to another. We actually hiked in June. We did June, July. I want to say it was beginning of the July. And our water source was plentiful. We had no problems with water source. A lot of people hike this later in the summer, and a lot of the water sources are dry. We actually did the last section with Spencer and Dylan to hike up Mount Monadnock. So Dylan could check that off his list. He's never fully hiked Mount Monadnock, and those water sources were dry. We ended up camping at a close campground, and so we were fortunate. We didn't have to drag a ton of water. So if you're thinking about hiking this trail, you may want to do it earlier in the summer, or plan for a water source. So after I really started to watch videos and really study the trail guide and read that trail book, I ended up creating a shopping list online on what everything that we're going to need for backpacking, because it's been many years since we've done it, and this was Evan's first backpacking trip, and therefore I could watch online when things started going on sale. I started that in the winter, so I didn't have to pay full price, and I was able to buy a little bit at a time and get ready for that trip in the beginning of the summer. So when I was studying the direction on whether to go Nobo or Sobo, I did come across an article where I read someone actually recommended that north to south might be just slightly easier. Now, this is not easy by all means. It was definitely challenging. It was a good challenge. We ended up hiking Sobo. Evan had it in his mind that he wanted to just hike south. And the more I thought about it, the southbound part is closer to our home, so I thought, well, it'd be nice to just hike on home. So we started at Mount Sunapee, and we went all the way to Mount Monadnock. Now, I do have 2 other videos which I will link in the description. I split it up between part 1 and part 2. We ended up starting Mount Sunapee. We hiked it. You can take a chairlift up to the top of Mount Sunapee. We hiked it. Dylan and Spencer ended up joining us. So that was really nice, and we went our separate ways. If you are considering hiking the MSG and you don't already have a hike safe card in New Hampshire, I will show a link in a picture. I definitely recommend it for a very minimal cost. It covers you and your family if anything were to happen, so definitely hike with a hike safe card. When we were planning and getting ready for this trip, we were deciding between a bear canister or a bear bag. And I ended up doing a bear canister, and I am really glad that we did, even though it's extra weight. Now that we've walked the whole MSG, at every shelter and spots I would look up, and it was really hard to find reliable trees that would hold a bear hang. Now, I'm not saying that you can't go and find a reliable tree to find a bear hang. That's just my perception of when we went there. So I found a bear canister to be a lot easier. So that is our why and how of the MSG, and I invite you to watch our other 2 videos to educate yourself, to learn more about this. And I would definitely recommend this as a first backpacking trip. You can break it up. You can do it in sections. So if you have hiked the MSG, please comment below and let me know how it went. And thank you for joining us. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.